have a story that I learned from my grandfather. He told this story to me. It takes place long ago. Some of you know the setting. You'll understand the setting right away of this story. But some of you younger folks might not understand so well. See, it takes place during a time which we now refer to as the hard times. The times of the Great Depression. You see, when I heard this story, I was about your age. So when I heard it, I didn't really understand that food and jobs and money were hard to hold on to if you had any of that to begin with. Sometimes a family would have to pick up all they owned, move to another city, another county, another state, just to find a job. And when you traveled from one place to the next place, you didn't have these big interstate highways that you could drive on. You had the little two-lane roads. Travel was much harder. And you couldn't always just get in your car and take off. Maybe you didn't have a car. Maybe you had just an old pickup truck. Maybe it was just a wagon pulled by horses. And if you got hungry while you were traveling, you couldn't just look out over the tree line and find those two golden arches and pull over and roll down your window and,
would you like a hamburger and fries with that?
yeah, couldn't do that. You had to find a place, or maybe you brought food with you. But every once in a while, as driving down these little roads, you'd find a little diner, a little restaurant, maybe owned by a family who lived there. This story takes place in one of those diners, at a little country crossroads. It's operated by a woman who was traveling herself, but she ran out of money. And she thought she'd work here, this diner, for just a little while, temporarily, until she got enough money to move on. Well, this temporary job was now into its third year. What was once a beautiful, happy woman was now sort of crabby. People thought her looks had worn away because she scowled all the time. Frowned at you, just as soon bite your head off as to serve you coffee and biscuits. But she'd choose the coffee and biscuits. Well, my grandfather one day was sitting in this very diner, and that woman was there running the place. There was a man sitting next to my grandfather, and as they were eating their meal, an old pickup truck pulled up outside, out front. Man stepped out of his pickup truck, he walked around, tipped his hat back, he lifted that hood, and he started to tinker there in the engine, trying to find something wrong or whatever. But there was a little boy that ran out and stood next to his father, and a little girl that stood right there next to her brother. They just looked up at their father, and then finally he reached down into his pocket. He pulled out an object, and he handed it to the little boy. The little boy took that object, he grabbed his little sister's hand, and they made a beeline right for that diner door. They threw that door open, and they looked all around until there they saw the biggest display case of candy they'd ever seen. Looky there! You see all them sucker sticks? You see them sucker balls down there? They got all them colors. They got the red ones. They got the blue ones. They got the green ones. They got them yellow ones. I like them yellow ones. You know, we ought to get some of them. We ought to go over and do that. They ran over and they pressed their noses right up against that glass. Well, the woman who ran the place wasn't happy. She came over. What are you children doing? Get your noses off that glass. I just cleaned that. My goodness, you just can't have anything nice with children around. What are you doing? Get away from there. Well, ma'am, I'm sorry about your glass. But my daddy, he gave me this here penny. He said that my sister and I, we could come in here. We could have all the candy this here penny'd buy us. Can you tell us how much candy here we can get for a penny? Well, it's written right there on the sign. Just read the sign. I'm a very busy woman. I'm trying to run this place. Just read the sign and leave me alone. Well, ma'am, we ain't got much book learning or nothing. Well, we ain't learned to read too well. So if you don't mind, would you please read us what that sign says about the candy? My goodness. All right. The sign says 4 pieces for a penny. You don't mean it! We can get this many for a penny? You know what we can do? We can get one of each of them colored sucker sticks. We can get one of them sucker sticks. And you know Daddy can take one of them sucker sticks, wrap it up in his hanky. He can wallop it with a hammer. We could have a piece of this thing for months. We'll take one of each of them colored sucker sticks. You don't mind for a penny? Well, the woman, she opened the counter. She pulled out one of those little brown paper sacks. Pulled out a red one, a green one, a blue one, one of those yellow ones. Tightened it up. Now, where's that penny? Oh, here you go, ma'am. There you go. And she handed him that sack of treasure. Looky what we got. Looky. Ma'am, you don't know how special this is for us. See, it's going to be my little sister's birthday this week. And while we ain't got much money or nothing, and we can't afford to buy her something she really needs, so we just thought we'd get her something she really wants. You don't know how special this is. Bye. And thank you very much. Thank you. They ran to that door. They ran all the way out to that pickup truck, holding up that sack of treasure, showing their father exactly what they'd bought. He watched them as they ran towards him. He saw the happiness in their eyes. Tipped his hat. They all got back into that pickup truck. They just drove away. The man eating there with my grandfather, he hadn't eaten there before. He said something. The woman, finishing her sale of the candy, picked up some dishes, started back to the kitchen, but the man stopped her. Excuse me, ma'am. I don't mean to be butting into your business or nothing. Doesn't affect me at all, but I just want to know what you're trying to pull there with them children. I mean, it's your business, but what are you trying to do to them children? What are you trying to teach them? You know good and well that sign in that counter does not say 4 pieces of candy for a penny. That sign says 1 cent each. What are you trying to teach them children? What are you trying to pull them? The woman stopped. Well, what's it to you? She stormed off into the kitchen. She threw the dishes down. The man realized his mistake. He got up from the counter, pulled out some money. He looked at the bill, left it there. As he was on his way to the door to make his exit, the woman came back in. She threw that door open. She walked over. She picked up the bill. She looked at the money. Hey, sir, excuse me, come back here. What are you trying to do to me? What are you trying to pull? You know you've left way too much money for this bill. What are you trying to do to me? Well, ma'am, what's it to you? What's it to you? And he left.